When the beat drops, you know exactly what time it is. Hello and welcome into another episode of The Blitz, where the Buccaneers are finally back home inside Raymond James Stadium. I'm Evan Klosky, joined in the trenches, as always, with my dude, David Shealy.
So good to be back home for Tampa Bay. It's been nearly a month.
I know.
Nearly a month. We've got a great episode for you today. The Bucs have a wonderful history against the Raiders. We talk a little bit about that. We also hit up our boy James Yarko for our Locked On Bucs burning question of the week about Todd Bowles' future in Tampa Bay. Finally, we get some help picking nicknames for the tandem of Bucky Irving and Rachaad White in the backfield.
Oh, let's get started. This is the 10 and 10, the 10 most important stories you need to know before the Buccaneers host the Raiders at 1 o'clock. For the second straight week, the Buccaneers are playing a bad team that was oh so close to knocking off the Chiefs the week prior. Las Vegas has lost 8 games in a row and comes to Tampa Bay with nothing to play for. Meanwhile, the Bucs are back to 500 after escaping Carolina with an overtime win. The Buccaneers are 3-7 against the Raiders, have not beaten them in Tampa since 1996, but all that doesn't matter because the most important win came in Super Bowl 37 when Tampa Bay hoisted their first Lombardi trophy. Of course, the Bucs and Raiders share a former head coach in John Gruden, who may be heading back to the Ring of Honor. Oh, look, Monty Kiffin, we miss him too. He's there. Maybe that's for another day, David.
Yeah, maybe he'll be back inside Ray J for this game. At number 9, thanks to the Atlanta Falcons being an unserious football team, the Buccaneers are back in the running for another NFC South title. It seemed like those dreams were dead after Tampa Bay lost to Atlanta twice, but both teams are sitting at 500. A Bucs win today could put Tampa Bay back in the driver's seat.
Yeah, I mean, our mentality right now is that we're in playoff mode. We got to win out to get in and just see what happens. So it's one game at a time mentality, much like last year, and we're going to continue to say it.
According to the New York Times playoff simulator, if the Bucs win and the Falcons lose, Tampa Bay goes from a 50% chance of making the playoffs to a 65% chance. And considering Atlanta will be heavy favorites the next couple of games, it is imperative for the Bucs to not mess this game up.
Eric Bungay with a great job on those graphics. At number 8, a way for the Bucs to get the win is forced turnovers. They have gone 6 straight games without an interception. Meanwhile, they are facing a Raiders team that ranks dead last in turnover differential, coughing up the rock 23 times while only forcing 5 takeaways. Not to mention the Raiders have allowed north of 40 sacks. If there's any week to get right for the defense, this is it. And maybe the ending to that Panthers game was the spark they needed, because at number 7, Anthony Nelson probably saved the season, forcing that fumble against Chuba Hubbard. That was just the second best moment of the week for Nelly, who enjoyed the birth of his baby boy Eli just a couple of days prior. Nelly is a good reminder for all of his teammates. You never, ever quit on a play.
That's why I like you play every play. You got to play hard. You got to attack the ball. You got to attack the runner when you're tackling, doing all the right things, and then eventually sometimes it just lines up.
While we love moments like that, we do not love games like that. So at number 6, let's bring in our boy James Yarko for our Locked On Bucs burning question of the week. Even though the Bucs won't apologize for winning ugly, fans are not happy with Todd Bowles, and many are wondering, how hot is the hot seat as Tampa Bay goes on this final stretch?
I think he's still under enormous pressure, to be honest. This is a team that was just a couple plays away from the NFC Championship last year, and they are facing down a gauntlet of having to win almost every game left on their schedule because of a bad start. Now, not all of this is Todd Bowles' fault. There have been a lot of injuries to this football team that have hampered what he's been able to do. But this was still a team with playoff aspirations, looking to improve on what they did last year. That's why they bring back Baker Mayfield. That's why they signed all of these guys to return and shell out big contracts. So this is not a franchise that shies away from firing coaches that make the playoffs. They did it to Tony Dungy. And I think there's added pressure now because of the job that Liam Cohen has done on the offense, a top 5 offense in the NFL compared to a bottom 5 defense for Todd Bowles' side of the football. So even if he makes a run, even if they make the playoffs, I think it's still going to take a significant run once they get there in order for Todd Bowles' job to truly be secure. You cannot afford to waste time waiting for him to get it right. You have to move on and try to strike while you can.
Thank you so much, James. Todd Bowles can thank his lucky stars for a guy like Bucky Irving, who, along with Nelly, saved the season at Carolina. At number 5, Irving is creeping into the Offensive Rookie of the Year conversation. Of course, he's not going to win it because you have quarterbacks like Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels, who are the odds-on favorites, but he should get some votes. He just logged NFC Offensive Player of the Week honors, and he joins a list of Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Doug Martin, and Warrick Dunn as the only rookies in franchise history to accomplish the feat. Bucky totaled 185 scrimmage yards, putting the team on his back with that win in Carolina. Rachaad White wasn't too bad either, averaging 6.9 yards per carry. There is probably only one running back duo that could be put ahead of the Bucs duo, and that is Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery of the Lions.
Yeah, so they have a cool nickname, Sonic and Knuckles. Bucky and Rachaad need something, so we came up with an idea.
That's right. We threw in all sorts of prompts to AI to pump out nicknames for this tandem, and here's our top 5 that we got for you. Twin Cannons, the Sod Couple. This was admittedly really bad, but at the same time, it was funny and I enjoyed it. Sails and Scales, playing off the nautical theme. The Pony Success, based on the pony package that they have, and then going into 21 personnel, 21 pilots, which to me, honestly, this one sticks for me. I like 21 Pilots a lot.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. 21 Pilots is a really solid one. Pony Success is okay. Pony Express, for those wondering, was already taken.
Yes.
Years ago. So unfortunately, we can't use that one, but I like 21 Pilots a lot.
Yeah, that's what we're going with.
Yeah, we're going with that one. So let's go to our sideline segment because Bucky Irving was a little bit banged up. He was one of the few players who got banged up in that Carolina game. Hopefully, this is the day the Bucs can finally get through a game without getting injured, but KJ Britt and Mike Edwards are both dealing with something new, actually, stemming from that Panthers matchup. And then we still have Tyke Smith and Joe Tryon-Shoyinka trying to get back out there. A bit more optimistic on that front. That leads me to number 4. The Bucs need some bodies, y'all. With Edwards getting hurt, Tampa Bay brought back Kayvon Merriweather off the Lions practice squad. On top of that, the team still needs some help on their own practice squad, so they called an old friend, Ryan Neal. I can hear some of y'all booing. Be nice. He played nearly 600 defensive snaps for Tampa Bay last year. Be nice, please.
He tries hard.
Yeah, he tries hard. Rounding out Tampa Bay's transactions this week, punter Trenton Gill was cut after a bad performance in Carolina. So now Jack Browning will play in his first NFL game against the Raiders. The former San Diego State Aztec will assume holder duties as well.
Sticking with special teams at number 3, let's show some love for Chase McLaughlin. Baker Mayfield said after the game, you cannot take a kicker like this for granted, and the dude was clutch once again in Carolina. With one more 50-plus yard field goal, he will tie Connor Barth for the franchise record with 15. Also, since last season, he is roughly 93% in his field goal attempts. At number 2, it will be Max Crosby's job to make sure Chase McLaughlin is out there often enough to prevent the Bucs from scoring touchdowns. He has 7.5 sacks on the year, 16 tackles for a loss, bunch of QB pressures. He's well on his way to his 3rd straight season with double-digit sacks, and an absolute nightmare for the Bucs to prepare for.
He doesn't stop. I mean, he doesn't stop, ever. So, like, our goal this week is, hey, how do we play longer and harder than him?
Usually we do fashion fits with the Buccaneers, but we're going with Max Crosby and his own edition because he's one of the more intentional guys heading to the stadium. And I just want to show you with this little jumpsuit. The shoes matter.
Yeah.
The blue all the way up. It's all combined there, and that's really well done.
Now, you won't see me rocking this, okay?
Not your style.
Not my style?
His style.
This works for him. Only him, by the way. The bag's so expensive, you just saw it in the last picture. He's going to use the bag everywhere he goes. He's got all the accessories. He's got the bag. He's got the headphones. He's got the watch. He's got the necklace. He's got a whole lot going on.
And then this is more the casual look. I think we can all relate to this. An ode to Kobe here. He had another game where he wore Michael Jordan in the front. We also got a more reasonable messenger bag over here, which, still probably very expensive. Let's go to Brock Bowers, though. I went through every Raiders game, and I think this man dressed in Raiders gear in all but one of them. Much more relatable.
Yeah.
Real relatable.
Yeah.
Point to that, David, right here.
Right here?
He's still got his national championship bag from college. Bro, you were a first-round pick we can get an upgrade here. Go talk with Max Crosby. He's got some good stuff for you.
Good memories there, right? At number 1, go Dogs, by the way. Brock Bowers, just like Bucky Irving, deserves way more love in the Offensive Rookie of the Year conversation. He leads the entire NFL with 84 receptions. A tight end has not led that category this late in the season since 1986. I think my dad was in high school. He needs 116 yards to hit 1,000, which would only be the 3rd time in NFL history a rookie tight end has hit that mark. He would join Mike Ditka and Kyle Pitts in that club.
Which seems like a great segue into the all-out blitz. Let's start with our parlays of the week. Both of us went 2 and 3 last week. Let's get it done this time around. I got Bowers over in his yards. Not going to overthink it. I also think AOC throws that pick and Rachaad White finds the end zone.
We are too different with you on Bowers. I also think AOC has a tough game. Also, instead of Rachaad, I have Bucky getting back into the end zone because he's got a touchdown in 3 straight contests.
As for what's cooking on 10 Tampa Bay, look at this. It's one game, and it's the game we're talking about. Tampa Bay hosting Las Vegas from Raymond James Stadium at 1 o'clock right here on CBS. No need to change that channel for a long time. Checking out our Blitz picks record.
Yep, there we go. Evan and I both escaped with a dub last week. Got a little close. I ain't like that. But still, I sit 2 games ahead of Evan with 5 matchups remaining, plus the playoffs if the Bucks can get there. So we did not bring this up today, but Todd Bowles has been really bad against AFC teams as Bucks head coach. We have mentioned that before. He's only got 2 wins to a whole lot of losses. But here's the thing. Those victories came at home against teams who were A, not good, and B, had quarterback issues. The Raiders fit right into that category, so the Bucks win 21-6.
Oh, wow, a good defensive performance. Let's forget about the X's and O's for a second. You have a Bucks team that will be hyper-focused after underperforming in Carolina. Meanwhile, you got a Raiders team that is in a complete sandwich spot. They played in primetime last week. Should have beat the Chiefs. Then next week, they're on Monday Night Football against your Falcons, which is a big deal for a coach who could get fired in Antonio Pierce. I don't think the Raiders will get up for this one. I got the Bucks 31-20. It's a red out inside Raymond James Stadium for this contest. Finally, we get the red and pewter combination on the field. We waited too long. Thank you for joining us for another episode of The Blitz. Remember, kickoff at 1 o'clock. That is David Shealy. I am Evan Klosky. This is The Blitz. We will see you same time or same place next weekend.